ride with me in my foul life.
We're back, another episode of The Foul Life. Today's episode is a Dogtra sponsored episode. Y'all training? Y'all getting them ready for the season? Maybe you're already in Canada. I've been training a bunch. I'm just average dog trainer, average at best. But I want to learn. I'm becoming a sponge. I want to get better because my main goal is to become the best handler that I possibly can be in the field. I'm very enthusiastic and very passionate at this point in my hunting career to become the best dog handler I can be. It's difficult. We got a lot of moving parts to all of our hunts, and I never really put the time in to become a very qualified handler, but through a lot of practice and dedication, I'm slowly but surely getting there. And I have a feeling that the 2021-22 season is going to be my best yet. Thanks to Dogtra and all of our training sessions with Axel and Duff and Slash and Waylon and Nelly, all of the dogs that we run with. We have so many good dogs. Thanks to Dogtra. Thank you for partnering with us. Thank you for supporting the culture of the American hunter, the American provider, the outdoorsman, dog trainers all over the country and all over the world. And we have one today that's right in the thick of it. She's had a lot of big achievements happen in her life lately in her dog training career. Anna V is back. She's got her hair up. She does not have her hat on. She's not in Wisconsin. She's coming to us from the Peach State, Georgia. What's up, Anna?
Hey.
Hi.
I'm still riding my dog burden high, like we've been talking about. But yeah, it's time for a little bit of a break from being on the road.
You've been on it for a good, what, 3 months, or how long have you been on it in a row right now with all these competitions and tests and everything?
Let's see. Well, I've only been coming home for about 2 weeks at a time. So it's enough to unpack the trailer and truck and then repack it. It's not any downtime, but I had to come home, which stinks right now because grouse season just opened up and I wasn't able to get in the woods before I had to come home because my parents are starting a new family business in my backyard. So we have a massive fall festival opening next weekend with, they've put a 9-hole putt-putt mini golf course on it to pay tribute to our family farm being a golf course in the past. And then we've got like the massive jumpy pillows and the life-size human hamster wheel. And my dad has built slides that literally look like a death trap and out of like culvert pipes. I mean, 2 of them are 26 feet tall. I'm like, I don't know. It's just, you're just going to turn the whole community loose out in the backyard and have a good time. So
I hope you have good insurance.
Yeah, so that's why I came home, so I could be here for that. And then I'll be back on the road.
It's a fall fest? I mean, is there like a corn maze and a pumpkin patch and all this kind of stuff too?
Corn maze, pumpkin patch, hay rides. It's all here.
And that's on your property?
Cleveland, Georgia. Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yep, Skits Mountain Farms.
So where have you been? You've been sending me some pictures with some ribbons and some plaques and some trophies. And talk to me. Tell me what's been going on.
Okay, so we talked about the bird dogging life I have and running these hunting tournaments. So when you're just talking about being a good handler, that's a make or break it in my world. And so I'm so intrigued about the things that you're focused on being a better handler, because even though I've been in the wing shooting world and a wing shooting coach for so long, I absolutely love the dog training thing. And it is a huge commitment training dogs, and it takes up so much of your time. You really don't have a life, but it is the most rewarding thing I think I've ever done. And so being able to combine those worlds in these hunting tournaments is such a high for me. So I've had so much luck in the flushing side with the labs. And so let's see, 2 weekends ago, these were my last 2 tournaments were both in Wisconsin, but at different locations. And I ran my puppy Littles, who had turned like She turned a year old like 2 weeks before our tournament. And I've done all the training on her. So it was the first lab that I've raised and trained on my own. And she's not finished because she'll end up having, hand signals and all that stuff. And I'll run her in hunt tests next summer. But we're to that point now where she's moving on to the higher level training. But upland stuff's all finished. So I'm like, we're running this puppy thing and we're going to tear it up. And she hadn't had that light bulb moment yet, but I could see it coming. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just get her in here and let her experience this pressure and the excitement and, just the adrenaline of the competition. And so there was like 50 entries in the puppy. And of course, I'm the only female running dogs in that. And it is steep competition. I mean, the Flushing side of the BDC is really, really good dogs. So, scent conditions were awful and it was pretty hot. And so I just didn't have any expectations. Like I had a lot of pressure with the other dogs. I'd set on myself. We had a certain standard that we had to meet. But when it came to littles, I was like, I'm testing myself and I worked so hard for this and I know what I've put into this dog and I don't have obligations to anybody else or expectations to meet from anybody else. We're just going to have a great time. We were like one of the few dogs that, I'm talking like 5 dogs that whole day that even stopped the clock. So I never expected to get in finals with her. So we ran on a Friday for prelims and then Sunday was finals. So I was over the moon. I'm like, okay, well, I saw that light bulb moment, like it's on. So I just totally changed my attitude. It's like, we're there. You proved yourself. You got to go get it. And there's no exception. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if it's your first tournament. I don't care. Like, we got to do this. And so they draw for your run orders. Sunday morning, we get up and we're sequestered. So they set in the middle of the field, there's like a parking lot field. They put all the trailers together so you can't see the fields. You don't know what's going on from anybody else's run. So during prelims, we can watch other runs, not the run in front of us or the plant in front of us or our plant. But you can watch a field all day long as it's not your turn. And there's none of that in finals. So you just have to sit there and you just got to understand how to play the wind and how to set your dog up. And you got to understand the plant cards and just your gamemanship has got to be on during those times because there's no homework. Like you can't do any homework. And hopefully you'd been in that field before if you ran doubles or pointing or something like that. Sometimes you do get that that leg up because you've been in the field before, but sometimes like you're going in blinded. And so it's a big adrenaline rush. Well, if we didn't get pulled first, well, the fog was so dang thick. You couldn't see, I said we were probably running like a 12 to 15 acre field or whatever. We couldn't even see the back poles. You couldn't see the highway. Cars going down. You could hear them, but you can't see them. I'm thinking, holy smokes. Like I'd set these massive expectations. I knew that she had skills, but now I got to be able to shoot in this and I may not even be able to see the bird. So I just said, okay, we're going back to fun mode, right? We're just going to have us a good time. And I turned her loose and it was like, she went to every bird on a straight line, like gate bird, done. We went to the left the way the wind was, hit that bird, went to the center bird, and I gambled. So in the back, like you got your 3 sections, your front, middle, and back. Your front section is always going to have 1 gate bird. Your middle will have 2. So within the middle section is broken up into 3 zones. You have your right, center, and left. And then your back section is also set up in 3 zones with your right, center, left. So based on the plant cards, once you find your 4th bird, you know where the 5th one is. Well, I just gambled because we had our 3rd bird in the bag by minute 47. And I'm like, we're rolling. And I gambled wrong and I cost us 2 minutes playing her in the wrong zone, but she bailed me out. So we ended up with a little over 5 minutes in that field. And I was over the moon. So we held the best time all day long until the end of the field. So I just said, heck with this. Like, I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going to watch fields all day long. So I'm running my stopwatch. Every single person that comes up. I was a basket case thinking, we're going to do this. Like, we're going to freaking do this. Her first tournament, I did this all by myself. And then Mike comes up and beats me by 20 seconds by a dog that got his senior hunter title in the summer. And he's done everything. He's already won a super major. in the puppy. And I was like, crap. I mean, but 20 seconds, I'm not going to gripe about that. I'll take second, right? Okay. And then there's two hunters left to go. And I'm like, we've got this. Like, I'm going to take second. We're freaking going to celebrate all night long. I'm so pumped. Well, one of the assistants is a real good friend of mine now out of Texas, was running another friend of ours' dog who just got her master hunter this summer. And she's a firecracker. I'm like, holy smokes. Like, I didn't know who the last two people were. I wouldn't have been so confident if I'd known that he was running Cardi, you know. I would have just accepted third place. It would have been fine. So I was riding this emotional roller coaster, and it's so fun because we all run our mouth and talk trash, and then we celebrate when everybody has a good run. It's a lot of fun. And so Nick ended up winning with Cardi, and I took third, but I'm still just over the moon with my dog and knowing like she has such a huge future. So that was a really, really great weekend. And then
wait, the guy from Texas came out with Cardi and beat the other guy that was ahead of you by 20 seconds. So Cardi from Texas ends up winning it.
Well, Cardi lives in Wisconsin. She's the dog, but the handler was from Texas. Yeah, so they won the last run of the day. So I'd held it like all day long until like the fourth to last. So,
what was the last? What did Cardi do? How many seconds did she beat you by?
A 3 minute.
3 minutes?
3 minute run. So if no, she beat me by a minute and a half. She had a 3 minute run. So if I hadn't have screwed up and I'd played the field like I knew to play the field instead of gambling, I might have actually won. So I could only blame myself. Like, my dog totally did her job.
Right. So you move on.
That's the whole thing when you're talking about like, what now?
I lost you. The whole thing is what?
Oh, like with our game, you know, it takes everything. You've got to be able to handle your dog. You've got to understand field management. You've got to understand how to play the wind. You've got to have the dog skills to do it. You've got to be able to be a shooter. You know what I mean? There's like no room for finagling because there's so much luck still in the game that's the only place that like you can afford mistake is on the luck side.
So when you go out there, and tell me how it starts. You go, the birds are planted. Tell me how the field is set up. Okay.
So I told you about how you have your zones, right?
Yeah.
So then you go in a blind. Most of the time it's just a truck and a fold chair, and you just have to put your back to it. So you learn to listen to the four-wheeler, but those bird planters are getting so smart. So sometimes they'll ride one side of the field and run all the way across the field. So you think, okay, well, I've got a bird on this side and here. Like, you can start hearing the distance, you know, with the four-wheeler and stuff. And so you want to guess where it's going because that cuts out time, right? And a lot of times, like in the finals, there's only seconds between first through fifth. I mean, there's not always minutes in there. So it comes down to somebody literally taking a better line to the next zone and cutting out 4 or 5 steps. So everything matters. And so you walk your dog up to the line, you get ready, and like my pregame situation is I sit there and I visualize exactly how I'm going to play this field. Based on the wind, based on the dog, based on my experience in the field, if I have any idea of how this field is laid out, whatever, I sit there and I visualize the whole thing. And I just like get myself together, and then it's on. So it's like, hunt them up, and you just roll. So then the dog gets the gate bird, and then you either go left or right for your middle.
So the gate bird's there, and what happens? The dog does what? The dog gets on a point?
No, if I'm running the lab, they're flushing. So they flushing. Either...
So you're running a lab.
I do run pointers too, but oh gosh.
Yeah, I know you run pointers too. So you're running a lab. The bird flushes. Now you actually have to be dead on with your shotgun that day. You're killing the bird and the dogs bring it to you. So it's a complete live hunt situation. These birds are there. The gate bird's done. And then all of a sudden he runs out, gets the bird, brings it back. You put it in your vest just like you're hunting in North Dakota, South Dakota, whatever. Now you're on to the next one. Are people yelling rooster at you?
No, nobody says anything. But now in the flushing side, they can trap the bird. So that's a whole nother thing. Like, everybody's like, oh, well, they can trap it. Well, yeah, but they got a live bird in their mouth. So if they drop a bird or they're not force fetched perfectly and they drop that bird and that bird takes off, well, you got to shoot it and they got to go retrieve it again. So when it comes to like this, like, let's just say last year at Nationals, I was running a dog named Chopper. It's owned by a friend. And he's incredible. He's just a gorgeous big black lab, loving. Well, thank God he's a master hunter. And so having the titles on these dogs and running our world, it really doesn't matter about the title. It matters about the skill level that they had to obtain to get that title, right? So what happened is during prelims, they don't clean the field. Finals, they clean out the field. So there's no extra birds in finals. But there are extra birds during prelims. So what happened is he goes in to flush a bird, but 2 birds pop up. So I did a double, bang, bang, right? So he retrieves the first one because that's the one he marked. When he gets back to me, I whistle sit him and cast him to the next one, goes straight to it, brings it back. I mean, we just shaved minutes off of our time having to hunt another zone. So having those skills are really awesome on the dogs.
That's killer.
It's a rodeo. I mean, it is such a rodeo. It's so fun.
So how many dogs were in this? 25 or 50, did you say?
There was 50 dogs that entered in the puppy that
50.
I ran with littles. And then, yeah, like at nationals, I ended up 4th with one of the client dogs out of the blast. And we took 4th. And I've got to get my hands back on that dog. I love running him. You know, it's just like, I mean, you know how it is even sitting in the blind, like all these dogs have different personalities and, you know, I'm wide open and I love those dogs that you got to handle, the ones that you're having to rein in because you got to keep them in range. It's just like hunting anywhere in South Dakota or whatever. Dog gets out of range and they start flushing birds out of range. Well, you're SOL, you know? So, and we're spending big money. Like, you know, it depends on which tournament, but you could spend a couple $1,000s on entries. Like you can't have that. So yeah, I mean, it is fun. It is just like rodeoing, but we're bird dogging.
Do handlers like yourself enter multiple dogs? Do some of them do that like they're like in a regular hunt test?
Oh yeah.
So you can enter as many dogs as you want.
No, you max out at 4. So sometimes like if I got a dog and I'm really wanting to do well with it, I might enter it twice. But you get 4 entries in each category. So like this last one, I just ran ladies. I didn't want to run littles again, but everybody's like, why don't you put littles in puppy? I'm like, man, I should have. So when we go to Worlds next, Worlds will be in Kansas in October. I'm going to put her in puppy again because she's doing so good. But I took 1st and 2nd this last weekend in ladies, and I've waited almost a year to win with the stud dog journey. And it was such a big deal for me. So I got 1st with Journey and 2nd with Ackley, and Ackley's the whole reason I even love labs. So it was a pretty perfect tournament for me. So yeah.
So wait a minute, you got 3rd place in the hunt in the one that you just described to us. Was there a second competition in the last couple of weeks too that you were telling me about through text?
Yeah, they were back-to-back weekends.
And you got 1st and 2nd in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And is that
ladies?
And that's in the lady. That's not puppy.
Mm-mm.
So how many dogs are entered in this one that you got 1st and 2nd in?
I think there was 12.
12?
And what we did, we ran it different. So sometimes they'll do brackets and they'll take like the top times out of each bracket, and that's how they'll go to finals. But this ladies, we played match play. So it was 2 people run the same exact plant and the winner moves on.
And
so
this is all girls. All the handlers are ladies in this one?
Yeah.
And how old are the dogs in this one?
Oh, a whole variety of ages. Like Littles was in it. I screwed her up. In that one too, I played the wrong zone again. And then Journey just turned 8. So it's just all variety of ages with ladies.
And when you get around an all ladies competition, do you find that it's the same relaxed atmosphere, smack talking and ribbon, or is it a lot more focused and serious because it seems like there's a lot of girls that are really trying to prove themselves to get on to the next level of this game?
Okay. So I guess I'm probably the most hardcore, but the women of the BDC as a whole are amazing. Like we sit in the blind together and crack up and make jokes and talk about family stories or like whatever's going on with life. Like we're all so supportive of each other and cheering each other on. Like everybody's like, good luck, good luck, good luck every time somebody else's turn. And so it's a really great atmosphere to be in because like for competition, yeah, I'm competing against other people, but I'm investing all the time into like the training and my shooting and all this stuff. So for me, I don't look at the fact that I'm competing against somebody else. I'm competing against a standard that I have set for myself. So like I was saying, like Little's, it was her first tournament. So we're just going to go have fun. And I want to see how she handles this situation. Well, she rode so far above the standard that I raised my standard. Right. So, you know, if I'm running a dog that's won so many times, I'm like, okay, well, I got to make sure that I'm giving that dog what it deserves in the field because it's already proven itself, right? So then the pressure's on me as a handler and a shooter to make sure that I don't cheat the dog. And so I don't really think about other people. Like even when I run against the men and I'm the only female, I know I got dogs as good, if not better. So it boils down to I have to trust my training and I've got to be confident in my training and my skills that I've already proven to myself. Like I have nothing to prove to anybody else. And I'm competing against myself.
When you start talking about the dogs at this level that you got them and you're starting to see some success, is this a daily deal? You know, when you're in dog training and you got your dog at a kennel, our dogs are getting trained every day on different drills. Are you every single day, you got to have these dogs hours at a time? Each dog is going through every single part of these hunt tests that you do, or is this more of a relaxed situation as opposed to like a field test or a master hunt program and stuff like that?
Oh, it's way more relaxed. And I'm going to tell you, like, we've talked about genetics so much, and that's what makes the difference with this world is that you got to have, especially on the flushing side, you got to have a dog that's just all about upland. So I don't know that I could come and get your dog as highly trained as they are. I don't know that I could go get that dog and it be as successful in my world.
Makes
right? Even
sense.
Though like the dogs that we're running, like these stud dogs, they were master hunters by the time they were 3 years old. You know, I mean, they've conquered it and they understand that and everything, but they've got a motor where they want to go. And like all they think about is where is that bird? And it is so much fun. Now, when they come in the house, like they're, couch potatoes and you'd never know that they've got this extra gear, but that's what makes the difference. And so it's been really cool too, for me to watch that difference in training, right? So you get a dog that's like super birdy when you're doing bird intro and gun conditioning and all this stuff. But then by the time that you get all the foundations built and you put it together and then you turn them loose, some of them don't put it together as well as others. And the only thing that's different is genetics because they went through the exact same training program, right? So, yeah, it really just boils down to that.
When you start talking about genetics and you start accumulating these victories and these top 3 finishes, first and seconds, do you start getting into that? Are people asking you like, hey, are you going to, start breeding these dogs? Can we get a puppy from this dog? Can we get a puppy from that dog?
Yeah, that's happened a lot. Like the kennel that I run with in Wisconsin, I think they have the most, master hunters that are also tournament hunting wins in the country. So it's like, it boils down to those genetics. And I just got, I got lucky. That's what I have. That was what I was introduced to on the flushing side. I'd never ran labs or flushers before these dogs. So for me, because I came in with instant success. I mean, the first time I ran a flusher, I took second. So I'm like sold on the whole genetic life. But now like on the pointer side, okay, this is how my schedule's been. This is why I look like this. So thank you for pointing out that I'm a hot mess right now. Really appreciate that.
I never said that. I said you had your hair up. What? I never said.
So I drove back to Georgia on Wednesday, which is like, I don't know, an 18-hour drive, right? And I got all the dogs with me or whatever. So I roll in at like 3:30 in the morning, whatever. Well, I got a dog in heat. I got to breed her. Well, I got to go get a progesterone. Well, that's an hour away in the opposite direction of the kennel that I want, that has the stud dog that I want to breed her to. So I go over there, get a progesterone. Well, they're supposed to call me. Well, somehow, life happens. Well, they didn't call me, and then I got busy working, and then I forgot that didn't call me. So luckily, I remembered right before they closed. So here it is, like at 5:30. I'm calling the vet. she's perfect. Well, great. So let's just hop back in the truck and make another 6-hour round trip to the breeder. So at like 9:00 last night, I'm in West Georgia breeding the dog, roll back home, get back home at 1:30, start all over again today. You know, I mean, like, who does this crazy stuff?
Yeah. Why are you doing it? What's wrong with you?
I absolutely love it. And I'm so pumped about, well, I mean, I've got puppies on the ground now. So Mercy had a litter or in the spring. And that was the first rare I ever had. And I mean, she's really turning up. And the problem that I've had while they are MIA in the tournament world right now is not because I don't want to run them, but it seems like every time I turn around, they're in heat or they've been bred when all the big stuff happens. And so they're missing out because, you know, I'm not paying to run a heat dog when I know there's so many dogs in that division that I'm gonna be running in the dark. I'm just not gonna do it. So it's just like, okay, well, I'm not gonna chance that because it's steep competition. You know, these guys have been doing it as long as I've been alive. So I want a chance to have a good run with Sunshine. So anyways, that's kind of how that's worked. And then Mercy's puppies, I've got 4 in the kennel right now. One, yeah. And so I'll train up those. And bred Dolly last night to a phenomenal dog dual champion out of Walnut Hill Kennels. And I'm just so pumped about that. I'm going to have some great hunting dogs out of that. So I'm probably going to keep some. And so we had talked about training and the schedule and commitments and all that stuff. So what I've decided to do because of my crazy travel life is I'm just going to train up my own little puppies and self-started dogs to crazy hunters or people that want to join our tournament world and see what it's all about and just have fun with it.
This is going to be your business model?
Yeah.
And what's it going to be called?
Yeah, because you're right. I mean, like it is hard with me being on the road to say, okay, this dog's going to finish up at this certain time, but I'm not going home for another month. Well, nobody wants to not have their dog for another month. So I'm not willing to give up my travel schedule and the things that I love. So I'm just going to switch it around a little bit and not give up anything.
And where do you travel to next?
I'll be back up in Wisconsin on the 8th, I guess. And then I've got some really cool marketing plans coming up. We're going to do some cool stuff with the dogs for a couple of days with a field media. And then hit the grouse woods. That's one major thing I cannot wait to get back up there for. And then off to Kansas for Worlds on the 17th. And so that'll be another week-long tournament there. And then go back and train dogs all day and hit the grouse woods. And if the geese are flying, set up a blind. So
mental-wise, you love this and you're passionate about it. You love to travel. In the foreseeable future, in my opinion, you're not going to have much of a life as far as like, hey, I'm going to go to the Bahamas next week and just chill. Like when you're a dog trainer and you're responsible for all these and you, let's say your kennel, you know, like you're starting up like you are, you don't have a whole bunch of trainers or a GM or somebody looking out for these dogs. I mean, this is a 24-hour a day, 7 days a week babysitting drill to where you're not just going to be able to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go jump on a plane and go down to Tahiti for a couple weeks, right? You can't plan like that. You're stuck now.
But I wouldn't do that anyways. I live in Georgia. So PCB is like the most famous redneck beach of all time. It's like 7 hours away. And I go there when I'm forced to. So like, I don't really care that I can't go to the beach. If somebody says, okay,
well, let's just take the beach word out of it. Okay. Forget Tahiti, forget the Bahamas. I'm talking about anything. You can't just get up and go. This is like having a bunch of newborns as a mama, right? You're going to be, I know you have, but this is like, you're not going to be able to just get up and go do anything personally. Am I wrong or right? I mean, you always have these dogs.
All the events that I do, like I work the expo and all this stuff, like they just all go with me. I got all my dogs there, got my stakeouts and I go to the banquet. And then I go do all my dog tours, then I put everybody to bed, and then I start my morning and I go do all my dog tours, then I go to work and take the dogs with me. Yeah. It's really like that. You're right.
And how many dogs at any given time do you have with you?
No more than 15.
No more than 15. Just you with 15. So you'll have 15 steaks. You'll have 15 steaks out at an expo with dogs tied off to 15 steaks, laying around, sitting around waiting.
Yeah. There was 12 at the expo. I left some. Yeah. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
They're so cute and they're so well behaved and everybody just wants to pet them. So it's good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I like it. What collars are you mainly using for these type of training sessions to get ready for what you just described as like these live hunt competitions?
Oh, I love the TMB duel. I absolutely love it. Especially like you got, your color system, you got the double dials, and I'm running the labs and the short hairs, and they have such different levels of stem, even just with the way that they're built, with the labs with their thicker skin and their thicker hair and all this stuff, like they're usually have a higher tolerance. So you just have you set one green, one orange for each of them and roll with it. Yeah. And then if I'm airing dogs or whatever, it makes it really simple too. And the way that fits on my banded vest, I tell you that, I have to plug that because in my world, your equipment and your gear will make or break you. And that has been probably the fourth vest that I've used. And it has been my all-time favorite. I mean, it's not perfect for what we do in the tournament world because we do need some special things, but the clips and the way that the TV dual fits and you don't have a transmitter flopping around or, it just worked so perfect. So I'm using the TMB dual. It fits right on my little bracket on the front chest on the opposite side that I mount a gun. I mean, I've got all of that down to a science. So even in the clinics of the wing shooting stuff, literally break that down. You put so many shells in this hand, you hold your gun right here, you use this. When the dog's out on the retrieve, you reload your gun, put your safety back on, you're ready to go. Every single second of field management is planned. So this gear thing works really well. And the TMB dual it makes a lot of those things very simple too when you're running multiple dogs.
Where do you see, when you start to get into a training and you start, you're talking 12, 15 dogs and you're individually doing, do you have a master plan set out? Do you set it at the beginning of the week and you're like, okay, on Monday, each dog is going to go through this? Because I assume that these dogs are at different levels and different, different levels of the training game, right? Some are more advanced than others. So do you have it to where every dog's going to do the same thing? There just might be a little bit more advanced in that exercise for that day, or you have a total scope of work for Monday, and then Tuesday, exactly when your truck stops and you open that trailer door and that dog gets out, what he or she's going to be doing, put him or her back into her box, and then you take the next one out. How does that work?
Well, I normally start with the intro dogs. I'll go first. So whether it's bird intro, because you reuse some of your equipment, right? So you reuse your birds, or you only need your gun out for certain dogs or something like that. So it makes all that really simple. And then the force fetch stuff, you got certain bumpers that you use, check cord, that kind of thing, which that can transition into collar work too. And then once you get to running marks or on the pointer side, I use the I could not live without the QL thrower these days, the Dogtra launchers. Forget it. If I had to go back to life without those, I'm not sure I could even train pointers anymore. No lie, they've made my life so easy. So, and then you just go catch your homers and go plant your launchers and turn the dogs out and one by one and let them do their thing and make their corrections. And you just make it a game, the whole day is you just try to keep that attitude that we're just playing with dogs and we're going to keep the best attitude. We're going to get the best out of them. And when they don't think it's fun, we're going to take a bumper break and get them back on track and start again.
And how many hours a day do you think that this, just having fun with your dogs is taking place? Are you with them 8 to 10 hours a day? Working them. I'm talking about actual training exercises.
No, I don't have that many. I don't have that many. And I'm not running testing dogs. So Like I'm not having to set up for those kind of marks. Like I do break-in marks for steadying or something like that, but I'm not pushing dogs on a master hunter level. Not at this point. I mean, I have no desire to do that right now. I love running that. And I'll do it with my personal dogs, but I'm not joining the hunt test world because I'm a shooter. So yes, I value the skill set and I enjoy spending my summers there. But when it comes hunting season, I want to be shooting my gun. So on the upland side of training, like, you know, you go put out birds and make sure, you know, you're quartering into them or, you know, that kind of thing. And then it's over, you know, you shoot your few birds for them and they're done.
Do you miss more than you hit the birds, Anna?
No.
Come on. You can be honest here. Let's be transparent.
I'm not going to say I don't have a bad day because Lord knows I just had one 2 weekends ago. I was humiliated, but no, I'm not going to miss more than I hit. That ain't going to happen. My coach would make me start over.
Give me some ideas on today's Dogtra podcast of what it takes to be a good shotgunner. What are some of the fundamentals that we have to remember? Anna V, what do we teach somebody? Like, is it cheek down on the gun? Is it how to look down the rib? Is it how to keep the swing going and the barrel moving through the shooting zone? Is it shooting with both eyes open? Do you close an eye? Which eye do you close? How do we teach somebody just a few quick fundamentals from a top level shooter like yourself?
Well, there's two things that are make or breaks, and it's gun fit, number one. And you can't go on Facebook and ask somebody if you should buy this gun or what do they think about it, because it could be a slam dunk for somebody and it could be a total train wreck for you, you know, and it has nothing to do with the quality of the product. It has to do with the way that it fits you. So that's number one. And people just don't understand that, you know, until it's pointed out to them. So, you know, I encourage everybody that's looking for a gun, go pick up every single gun on the shelf and feel it, because balance and fit, the way that it swings, all that stuff, like you're going to have that light bulb moment when it works, even though you may not understand the mechanics of how it fits you and how all those dimensions work together, but you're going to be able to tell a difference. So that's number one. And then once you have that proper gun fit, then once you get the proper mount and you understand how to get that mount to where you're not dipping your muzzle and swinging through birds and all this other stuff, I mean, anybody can be on fire. I feel like, you know, you can make anybody a better shooter with simple fundamentals.
And then you start getting into your shooting system, right? Your choke tubes, your patterning, your sights, and your rear sight, your front sight, everything that goes into the actual system,
Don't worry
right?
about sights. Don't worry about sights.
Oh, don't start talking that you just look down the barrel. Stop it.
I don't even have a bead on the end of my gun.
Stop it.
There's not a bead.
Stop it.
I will totally go to the trailer and break it out. There's not a bead on the end of my gun. Now, it wasn't on purpose, but I have no idea how long.
You need one on there.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't even know how long it's been gone. I just shoot my gun and the bird falls out of the sky. Yeah, I don't know.
I know, but the birds are like, what, 12 feet when they get up? It's not, I mean, you're kicking them to get up a little bit. I'm talking about like when you're...
No. Oh my God. Okay, that goes back to gun fit, right? Because here's the kicker, and this is why people will miss. And it's very frustrating when you care so much as a coach or an instructor, and people get upset or discouraged before they understand why they're missing. And it's not because they're bad. It's because they got the wrong product in their hand a lot of times. So that's probably like the biggest message is like, people think, okay, well, I'm just going to go to the clay course and shoot without having somebody explain to them the fundamentals of how to make all this work. And if they don't have the right product, well, it doesn't mean that they're a bad shooter. It just means that they're not lined up. So the biggest issue is if your eye is not in line with the muzzle, then you cannot be guaranteed that what you see is what you're going to hit. Right? So it's super simple. I mean, it's a super simple principle, but people don't think about it like that. So they may want to shoot a certain gun because they just love the gun or they love the brand or their appreciation for the product, whatever. but it doesn't mean it's going to bring them the most success in the field. So that's the whole thing about, finding people that are like, oh, I can't shoot moving targets. Well, let's find out why, because it might very well be a super simple fix.
But you still have to have a sight. You still want to have a sight. For sure you do. Yes.
You don't need it.
I'm not saying,
tell you what happened.
maybe at your level and maybe your instincts have taken over in your game, but in a real Georgia wild quail hunt or a real mallard duck hunt in North Dakota, you want a sight.
Okay, everybody listening, do not listen to Chad right now, because what he's going to do now when you go shoot, you're going to be checking, is your bead on the bird? Is your bead on the bird? And you know what's going to happen? You're going to shoot behind the bird every single time. Do not listen to him.
That's not true.
It is so true.
You could get your coach on here and everything, and I'm going to have a little argument with both of you.
Well, you can argue all you want to, but I will tell you, I will take a team. You can take a team. You can tell them to match their bead up to the bird and pull the trigger. And I'm going to teach my people how to keep with the moving target. And at the end of the day, my students will hit more birds than yours.
Not a chance.
I put $100 on it right now.
$100? That ain't even worth me getting out of bed for. What are we really going to bet?
Well, then, I don't know, but I'm just
10
telling
grand.
you.
10 grand. I'll put together a team today. You put together your team. And we'll meet at a neutral location.
You cannot put a team together. No, they have to be random, unknown people. You're not stacking me.
Oh, that's fine. I'll get randoms.
It's true. You cannot put the bead on there and worry about it, because you're going to stop moving your gun. You're going to worry about where your bead is. Now, I do know how to calculate lead.
You should start your own podcast, and here's the name of it: What Not to Do with Anna V.
It's easy. Don't take shooting lessons from Chad. Oh my God.
No, I like that SCI cup. That's a nice tumbler mug.
My favorite one. Yeah.
Safari Club International. Are you going to the Safari Club convention in January?
I'm hoping and praying we have it. If we're there, I'll be there with bells on.
I know it's gonna. I was on a podcast with him yesterday. They're having it.
It's so excited.
You don't have your rooms yet? You better get checked in.
Think so.
You do?
I think I'm on the list. Yeah.
Oh, good. It's gonna be fun. We get to watch Larry the Cable Guy.
Pumped.
Well, congratulations on all of this success. You're fired up. You're pumped up. You're tired. You look like a hot mess. You haven't washed your hair in a couple weeks, it looks like. I don't know how often the showers are coming, but it doesn't look like very often. See, I didn't say any of that kind of stuff at the beginning. You put words in my mouth. I just said you got your hair up because you usually got your hat on. You usually got your lid on. So
not today. I'm just wanting to get caught up a little bit.
I get it. Well, I like the idea that hunting season's around the corner. You're going to be traveling. You're going to be training a little bit still, but you're going to be gunning and hunting a bunch. Let's check back. Let's check back. Let's check back in a couple weeks about. Let's check back in, and I really want you to start. And this is what I want you to do for me. I want you to start videoing. Okay. I want somebody to video you shooting without your bead, and I want you to send me the misses and the hits, because I know there's going to be several misses. I don't want my phone to get overloaded with all the videos of you missing, so probably don't need to send them all. But really, for real, I want to get a checkup. I want an update from the field, and I want you to start shooting with a bead and a sight. I really do want you to. I want you to be the best shotgunner that you can be.
Well, there's not a sight on a shotgun, and you were a shotgunner. Why do you keep using this lingo?
A bead. You could put a sight on a shotgun. For sure you can.
Why would you do that?
Because you're going
to go shoot turkeys.
I've been doing it for 15 years. I'm not talking about a sight with a dot or anything. I'm just talking about a illuminated light pipes. A high vis on the end of it is the best way to take a bird off.
Oh my gosh. No, I don't need none of that.
Are you out of your, do you know how many ducks and geese I've had in front of me and I pull up? Do you know what a triple means?
Listen, I just go out there with my side-by-side in the grouse woods, and I cannot wait. Just with my little side-by-side and my dog, and don't worry about none of that stuff. Just keep your eye on the target and shoot it. Okay, but it doesn't,
you're not agreeing with me though that a light pipe sight will come in handy for you.
I had one, I did use one on my sporting clay gun, where I was more apt to calculate lead, but I do not think about that when I'm shooting birds. I'll give you that much.
Okay.
No.
That's not the argument. That's not the argument. I want you to concentrate at the beginning of your hunting season with a good sight, an illuminated sight on your shotgun and the end of it on your front sight.
We're going to put that on there.
It's going to become second nature to you, but you really are following that bead, that light pipe. I'm telling you, you are out of your mind. I do it every day in the field. Low light conditions, it lights up the whole world. If it's an overcast day and the geese are working in and you pull that sight up, with nothing on the end of your shotgun, you have no placement. You have no pin placement. I'm not saying that somebody with your level of expertise or your level of experience in shotgunning can't rely on their instincts to pull up and kill a bird once in a while. But as the guy or girl starts their shotgunning career or is getting into it, that sight is going to help them develop the instincts that you were talking about. You have developed over the years. That's the reason you're hitting the birds with no sight, is because you learned with the sight.
No, the reason I'm hitting birds with no sight is because my gun fit, my eye is directly over the end of my muzzle. So where my eye looks, my gun shoots there. That's why. It's not because I'm checking a sight with my target. That's not it. When you do that, it causes you to hesitate on your shot and you stop moving your barrel.
We're not on the same page here. I know that you're going, I know that it's going to become second nature to you. Think you're not looking at that sight, but you really are.
I'm not putting a fluorescent sight on the end of my shotgun to go shoot birds.
I'm not saying that you need it, but I'm telling you that the team I put together and train, and you put together your team with no sight, we will smoke you with that style. I'm telling you. Think about it. You're asking a rookie shotgunner to not have anything to go off of. Just go there and just use your instincts and keep the barrel moving and pointing. Follow the bird.
I didn't say that they shouldn't have that. I'm saying they can't rely on that, because once they start checking their target with their bead, it stops the swing of the gun.
You're making it sound like they're going to pull the gun up and they're going to go, wait a minute, my bead's not on it. That bead helps you develop the instincts you're talking about right now, because you really are.
People do that. Like this is something that I coach all the time. And I'm like, you can't focus on your bead. You got to focus on the target.
I'm going to have to talk to
the difference.
I'm going to have to talk to the Shotgunning Coaches Association, because I don't think you're coaching right.
Okay, that's all right. But
I am going to file a complaint.
I want to know who gives you an opinion.
Well, we all have opinions.
Sure.
This is an opinion. This is fact.
We're talking about Churchill. Let's talk about Churchill, right? Because that's the most popular wing shooting technique in the world.
Okay.
In the world, the Brits are, known for being the best wing shooters ever. Okay. So let's just say, what is Churchill method? If we're going to go to Webster's and get a super short, precise definition, it's going to be this simple: instinctual shooting. It's going to be a low gun, follow the bird, you roll your shoulder up, you put the gun to your cheek, bam. You pull the trigger as soon as this happens, because
and that gun has a bead on it. That gun's going to have a lighted bead on it. It's going to have even the Europeans use them also.
It's not even about the bead or not the bead. I'm telling you.
I'm not arguing your style of low gun, shoulder roll, get on the bird, get out in front of the bird, follow the, and then keep your barrel moving to let your shot string spread out. I'm not arguing any of that. I'm just arguing that as you start shotgunning, even this late in my career, this many years later, as I've been shotgunning a long time, that lighted bead or that light pipe sight at the end of your shotgun barrel helps you stay on the bird. It's still your instincts taking over, but that illumination helps you stay on the bird. There's no way you could argue that with me. That's why our military uses them, handgun shooters use them, police officers use them on all their handguns and shotguns. It's because you have that instincts being driven by your vision.
You can't say anything about pistol, because pistol, you focus on your front side.
No, I'm not.
And your back side. in your peripheral.
I'm not saying that it's the same exact as pistol shooting. I'm saying that the light pipe technology is rolled over into shotgunning because that concentration doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to stop your shotgun barrel. That's what your argument is, that they're going to stop their barrel.
But the new shooters that have not established a technique can't process that much information in such a short amount of time. So if you start pointing out beads and leads instead of just focusing on the moving target, which if they have a properly fit gun, their gun's going to go there. I'm eliminating thought process in their head because the whole point of being a successful shotgunner is to exist in your subconscious. So if you're giving them all these things to think about, then you're bringing them out of their subconscious where they need to be shooting without thinking and throwing them in their conscious, which is going to cause them to shoot behind.
I do not argue that one bit. But all I'm saying is that I never once said that you put the bead on there or you put the sight on there and then tell them to concentrate on that. I said it's on there. It's going to help them concentrate to do everything that you just described.
Okay, maybe I'll get one on there just to see if I pay attention.
Yes. I'm going to send you one. God. Jeez, criminy. That was tough.
Well, it seemed like you were misinforming people. And I just told you the biggest issue is that people get discouraged because they don't understand why they're missing. And they don't even have to worry about that if they have the proper gun fit.
I think we're on the same page. I just think the only argument is that I think that the technology today helps you. I'm not saying that people can do
giving it a greater value than I am. That's just it.
I
just don't value that near as much.
I think that if you were starting today, you would. I think you would. If you came on a duck hunt.
I just started 7 years ago.
Well, that's a pretty good amount of experience as much as you shoot. It's not like you started 7 days ago.
You're right.
And you were a mature woman when you started, so your muscle skills, your muscle memory, your instincts, your brain, all of your cognitive thinking, the way that you can get in the zone, all of that stuff was already into you. You look like an athlete. I'm sure that you've played sports or competed in your life before you became a competitive shooter. I would assume that. I guess that's not safe to assume, but I would think that at that point in your life, you probably dribbled a basketball already. You've done a lot of the things that you're like, okay, I can pick the shotgun up, and you're an athlete. But I'm saying that with today's technology, you put that light pipe on the end of a shotgun, I truly believe in it. It can make you a better shooter faster.
It wasn't that easy though. It really wasn't. I think I went through 6 guns in a year and a half before I found the right one. Found the right gun.
Yeah, no, and in what you're doing, that's a big, I can shoulder for what I do when I have a Super Black Eagle, the new threes and the different shim kits and everything that come with it. You can find it. You can cut down the stock if you need to. You can find the right barrel length. I mean, I've been pretty lucky with the way that I've been able to get my guns designed and built. So you are right. Gun fit is so important. And that's why when you see like a youth hunt go on and you're just like, oh, just give them grandpa's gun, they'll be fine. Well, that's not the case. It's a study of getting the right tool in that kid's hand or that woman's hand or that new man's hand that's getting into the game and making them understand why fit is so important. I can't go out and grab my brother's golf clubs. I suck at golf anyway, but golf clubs are all different sizes for a reason. There's a different fit in everything. Right. The baseball bats.
I don't know much about that,
but what I'm saying is that I completely agree with everything you're saying, except the fact that you could teach a team with no bead to shoot better than my team with a bead or a lighted sight, starting kind of from the beginning. I would take that challenge. I'm not saying you're 100% wrong.
I've never started a new shooter and said anything about focusing on or like having a relationship with the bead. I don't think I've done that. So I'm just saying, like, there's different styles of coaching. I get it. My way is not the only right way. I get it. But I do produce successful shooters. I do know that. So I'm just going to stick to what I know because of my experience.
I would not tell you to do anything different. I will say that you're wrong in many ways. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you.
Oh, my God. Okay, so everybody that needs that has questions about their shotgun fit, just message me because we'll just get this fixed right over photos and get you going.
Yeah, you should start an online shotgun fitting business. That'd be perfect for you too. It could go with your corn maze and your slides, your dog treading business, everything else you got your paws into. Your paws, no pun intended. Another episode of the Foul Life Podcast brought to you by Dogtra with the one and only Anna V. Anna V Outdoors on Instagram, correct, Anna V?
Correct.
Anna V Outdoors. Check her out. Give her a follow. We're going to have some big podcast news coming up. We'll have some announcements with Anna shortly in the podcast game. Look for her out in the field. If you see her at a cafe, if you see her in the field, just walk up to her and say, Anna, I know you're busy, but if you don't mind, I'd like to take a couple minutes to teach you how to shoot a shotgun. She will gladly oblige and listen to you. Teach her what I've been trying to teach her for the last couple minutes. Anna, thank you. Any closing words?
No, this is always so much fun.
It's always fun. I love your stories.
Thanks for having me on.
I really hope you get a chance to shower today.
Me too.
Tom, Jake, hit that button. This is 2 a.m. Logic. The song is called My Foul Life. Thank you so much to Dogtra. The best. I'm telling you. Learn the ethics of training dogs and why collars and training collars and collar conditioning is so important to the health, the safety, the security, the success of all of your labs, all of your duck dogs, all of your pointing upland dogs. I'm talking Dogtra is in the canine game in every form, and you can see all of their products on their websites, on Instagram, on Facebook. Thank you, Dogtra, for supporting us, all of our brands, and the culture of the American hunter, the American dog, the duck dog, the sporting dog. We out. Thank you, Anna V. Thank you, Dogtra. Peace out.